Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hot Tag. I am John, the Madness Thompson, here with my good buddy, Jake Ward.
Yeah, super excited. Nickname yet to be determined. You can let me know, but we are talking Royal Rumble 1989. This was the first Royal Rumble I ever saw. I remember hiring it from the video shop, getting home because it had Hulkster, Macho, Andre the Giant on the front cover, and I thought delicious. Let's get this going. So we're going to talk about everything that happened in the Royal Rumble match 1989.
This match, I hadn't watched it. I've watched it many times in the past, but it had been a minute. And this is in an era where we are heading towards Mania, obviously, and Mania 5. So we're setting things up for Hogan Macho. We're setting things up for Jake versus Andre. And there's a lot of little plot points that go on in this match that are really clear indicators of where things are going. And it's the golden age. This is my favorite time frame for all this stuff. So many classic names in here. So today, the plan is I've got the list. I know exactly when, where, and how things happen. So we're going to go through, talk about the plot points and kind of our high spots and low spots. Now, obviously, everybody kind of remembers the beginning of this because it was a little bit of a weird beginning to this particular Royal Rumble. Entrant number 1, Axe of Demolition. Entrant number 2, Smash of Demolition.
And my mum had to come in and clean up my brain from all over the lounge room because it was every man for himself. We know the catchphrase, and the fact that number 1 and number 2 were Demolition, I was like, oh my God. And I really bought into anything can happen and anyone can win this. I was like, wow. And I mean, even before the match started, DiBiase was buying people's numbers to get to where he wanted to do. But yeah, and then I thought, this is beautiful for Demolition. They're going to go 2-on-1 on anyone that comes in, and they start beating each other up.
I know. And it's kind of like, is Demolition just that stupid? Or like, are they just really, really into the every man for himself thing? Because they could have and should have maintained a little bit of thing, because the third man in was none other than Andre the Giant.
It was funny because, like, if you watch both screens when Andre's coming down, I think it's Smash and he's on Axe, and then suddenly just looks to his right and goes, "Oh, stand up, mate. We're buddies again. Let's go." And yeah, I liked Andre coming in early because, like, being young, I was like, how are they going to get rid of him? Like, hey,
they're not.
He's in
Spoiler,
it.
They're not.
Yeah, like how are they going to get rid of Andre the Giant? And so I liked him being in early.
Yeah, I did too. I think it was the right way to go. Andre, surprisingly, he was in there for quite a bit. He did quite a bit of work. They did the classic spots. He gets tied up in the ropes. He was on the ropes most of the time to give him that support. But he did do some good work there. So man number 4 to come in, Mr. Perfect. Now, Mr. Perfect, one of my all-time favorites because he's a Minnesota boy. That's where I was from growing up. But it was interesting because this must have been really, really early in the Mr. Perfect timeline, because he was still in Kurt Hennig blue trunks, just the short blue trunks, which to me says AWA Kurt Hennig, not Mr. Perfect. But Kurt he'd been in the AWA, went to the WWF, went back to the AWA, and then this was the very beginning of the classic Mr. Perfect run, very, very early on. And he looked good. He had a couple interesting spots with Michaels, which will come on a little bit later on as well.
Yeah, it's definitely weird not seeing Mr. Perfect in the fluoro tights.
100%. Shortly after that, we get our first elimination. Andre out of the ring with Smash. Smash is out. Shouldn't have beat each other up so bad. You wouldn't have got ousted.
Get out of there.
Number 5, Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
Boring. I never liked Garvin. Can't believe he was an NWA World Champion. even the way he plonked to the ring, I was like, yeah, can't wait for you to get thrown out. I didn't like him then. I didn't like him now.
Yeah, the thing that he's good for is a laugh. I think definitely good for a laugh. Right after Ronnie comes in, Greg the Hammer Valentine with good old Jimmy Hart. It was interesting. There was a lot of managers coming in and out. Bobby Heenan makes the way down the ramp like 6 times. Jimmy Hart was up and down the ramp. They didn't do anything in the match, but each time their guy came out from their stable or whatever it was, they came out with them. So it was nice to see that. So Greg comes out. He starts adding in. Luckily for you, Andre boots out Garvin relatively quickly immediately after that. Then things get a little interesting because number 7 to come in, Jake the Snake Roberts. And this was when Andre and Jake were doing a little feud action. And this is going to be a bit of a storyline that affects both guys in this match.
Yeah, loved it. Loved even then, they really, like when I was first developing, like they weren't just matches, they were really, I could see a bit more in prolonging storylines because when I was growing up, we didn't get much wrestling. So unless I didn't get a highlight package beforehand, I didn't know what was going on. So I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed that they were telling a story. Back then, I didn't know it was ready for Mania. So obviously, when I rewatch it, you learn new things. And I was like, yeah, he's going straight for Andre. This is awesome because they're going to, they're going to have a pretty good match at WrestleMania 5.
Yeah. Out next, number 8, Outlaw Ron Bass. Now, he comes out with a shaved head. They don't even say his name. Jesse Ventura and Gorilla are on the commentary. They're like, Monsoon is like, here comes Baldy. Poor Ron. He got his head shaved by Brutus a little while before. And he comes in. He does a serviceable job, but they did him dirty on the way in. They didn't even mention his name, for God's sake.
Yeah, I believe because that was 89. Yeah, I know he was having problems in contract negotiation, so I wonder if that was a directive to just say, get the shovel out when he comes in at number 8.
Buried. Speaking of buried, kind of, Andre, real quick, eliminates Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
So second elimination, Andre gives Jake the boot. It's not the last we're going to see of Jake. He's coming back in a little bit. Number 9, the one and only, Shawn Michaels, Rockers Shawn Michaels. So he's the first of the rock and roll boys.
Yeah, I liked it when tag teams were in the Royal Rumble because I was like, I wonder when their partner's going to come in and hopefully help out. I was devastated as a young fella that Jake the Snake got eliminated so early because we have the same name. So I was like, oh my God, you are just everything to me. So, yeah, Shawn Michaels comes in and, even Rocker Shawn, you could see he was pretty good, but it was a nice little injection into the Rumble.
Indeed. He has some good spots coming up with Mr. Perfect as well. Speaking of Mr. Perfect, he gives the boot to Axe, knocks him out. So both of Tag Team Demolition are gone. Shortly after that, Butch of the Bushwhackers comes in. Butch looked not great. He looked like fat. Yeah. He looked like he was not in shape.
Yeah,
at all.
I think the Bushwhackers early. When I say early on, I think it might have been around this time. We're actually really unhappy with the way they were portrayed, and then when they really, I think it was shortly after this, they just went, "This is how we're going to make money. Let's just really embrace it," because they were like hardcore. Juicing, jacked, and when they were the sheep herders, and then they come into WWF and they're the marching morons, and it's like, and then it took them a while, and then they went, all right, we're the Bushwhackers, we can make money when merchandise sales and everything was starting to be big bucks. So yeah, I always thought the Bushwhackers were a waste of time. They could have utilized it for a couple of other people in the Rumble.
Yeah, the Bushwhackers are the team that in my brain, when I remember them, I'm like, oh, Bushwhackers, cool, fun. And then I see them and I'm like, yeah, just the entrance. I'll just take the entrance, and then that's all I need. That's all I need. So immediately after Butch comes in, Andre eliminates Andre because Jake comes back with Damien, brings the snake in. He throws the snake into the middle of the ring, and Andre, like a 150 pounder jumps over the top rope. He gets the hell out of there.
Looked like an Olympic hurdler. Loved it. Andre really does have a fear of snakes, so a bit of it was real. Love the psychology from Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
Just came in, and that sets up for WrestleMania 5, and you know that feud's not ending.
Yeah, loved it. After that, Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart comes on out. Followed by, we kind of had 3 guys in succession. Honky Tonk Man comes out, Chico Santana, as Jesse always says, and Bad News Brown comes out there as well, immediately followed by Tito and Butch teaming up to give Honky Tonk Man the boot. Now, Honky, at this time, up to this point in the Rumble, I think he got the biggest pop. Not a good one, a heel pop. But they were booing the hell out of him. So at this point in time, Honky Tonk Man was an effective heel.
Oh, I loved him. Loved him. I thought he was fantastic because he wasn't in a era of really good, powerful people. He wasn't in the best shape, but was still getting wins and holding the title. When I was younger, I hated him, but I love his work. Huge Honky Tonk fan. And my dad, God bless him, used to always dance in the kitchen for me like the Honky Tonk Man. So I'll always remember that.
So immediately after Honky Tonk gets put out, we get the reunion of the Rockers, or the Union of the Rockers. Marty Jannetty comes on out, and they have a little spot right away where they join forces, and they give the boot to Outlaw Ron Bass. So they have a little moment. Rockers looking good, and they will continue to look good for a little while. But hold the phone, because really things start to heat up now. We're on number 15, entrant 15, Macho Man, Randy Savage.
The camera couldn't even keep up with him. When he bolts to the ring and the orange couldn't keep up with him. And when this came in, I was like, wow, it's getting real now. Now we're seeing some people that can potentially win this match. And I was automatically assumed Hogan was going to win. So then when Macho came in, I thought, maybe. Here we go.
Well, and the
Mega Powers lose.
Well, they were baiting us a bit, right? Because Jesse, of course, being the heel commentator, he was like, Gorilla, what are they going to do if the Mega Powers have to face off? You know, and kind of bringing us to this idea that there might be some separation going on. We'll talk about that when Hogan enters the match a little while later. Entrant number 16, one half of the Brainbusters, AA, Arn Anderson comes on down.
Oh, probably one of the most underrated tag teams of all time. Love the Brainbusters. I
love Arn Anderson. I don't even know why, but because I know Arn Anderson more so from the 90s era, his WCW time, where it was him and Flair and the Four Horsemen and all that kind of stuff. I always liked him. Always liked Arn. He does some goofy stuff. He does some good stuff. Best spine buster in the business for this point in time. We see it a couple times in the match.
He hits it on Shawn Michaels. It looks flush, super. The one thing, up to this point in the Rumble, I remember just getting frustrated because, people would either get a drop, the double drop kick, or, the momentum of throwing people out. So I'd always get annoyed, when they're in the corner and they're trying to just get that one leg over, and then they're pushing. Till I entered a Battle Royal or Rumble myself, I never understood it because I was like, just lift his other leg up and tip him over. Or when they're leaning on the turnbuckle, I'm like, just shove him like that, push him off, and things like that. Not lean on there, and then you get the thumb to the eye, and it's thumb to the eye, and it was. I always wondered how they all just sat in the corners for a bit, and I was like, oh man, if I was in this, I'd be eliminating everyone. Yeah.
At one point in the match, Butch was trying to put somebody out in the corner. He was draped on the top, and Butch had his one arm over the top of him, interlocked with his other arm, and he's pushing and pulling out. Oh, guys, you're not doing anything for my suspension of belief here. Okay, so Arn Anderson comes in. Macho Man eliminates Greg the Hammer Valentine. Macho and Arn then eliminate Shawn Michaels. Then we have number 17, the other half of the Brainbusters, Tully Blanchard. hits the ring. We have another one tag team is out. The Rockers are out. Brainbusters are back in, and immediately Tully eliminates Marty Jannetty. So Michaels gets tossed, Jannetty gets tossed. The Rockers' day is done.
Which was, yeah, I thought that would have been a good storyline to have them wrestle at Mania 5, but they did. I think the Brainbusters take on Strikeforce, which turned out to be much, much better. That story they were telling there at WrestleMania 5 was perfect, and the Rockers took on the Twin Towers. But yeah, I liked watching the Rockers and the Brainbusters go at it. I liked that both Brainbusters, had a helping hand in eliminating the Rockers.
So immediately after that, what you gonna do, brother? The Hulkster hits the ring.
He's in, the man.
Believe me when I tell you, things are going Hulk's way for this one. So immediately, Hulk Hogan eliminates Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect had a really good showing. He had some really good spots with people, but the Perfect one, of course, not enough to match with Hogan. Macho Man, I think it was just Macho Man who put Tito out, but like we only got a little 1 second glimpse of it in the show. It was like a really, they were too focused on Hogan doing whatever Hogan was doing.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused because like Macho's the world champion, he's a babyface, but he's eliminated 2 baby faces, and I was like, oh come on, man.
Hey, every man for himself, don't you forget.
Yeah, but that was supposed to be just for like bad guys.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And number 19 coming in, Luke of the Bushwhackers, which unites that team for a whole half a second. Then Bad News Brown boots out Luke right away. Or sorry, he boots out Butch. Luke is still in then. Number 20, the Birdman. Coco Beware comes in the ring, only to immediately be eliminated by Hulk Hogan, who then also eliminates Luke of the Bushwhackers. So Hogan is already up to 3 eliminations. He's only been in the ring for like 35 seconds.
And
right?
Getting rid of the filler. It's like, oh, too many people are coming in. We've got a story to tell very soon. You go. Off you go.
Yeah. So here we come into what I would call the Hulk hour of the show, or the Hulk moments of the show. So we got number 21, Warlord comes in with Mr. Fuji. And so Warlord gets to the apron, and this all happens in a very short period of time. Now, most of the time, we have 2 guys that eliminate 1 guy. But when you're Hulk Hogan eliminates both Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard at the same time. So he knocks them out while the Warlord is going over the ring, over the ropes to get into the ring. Hulk then immediately gets rid of the Warlord 1.5 seconds after he gets in the ring. And then he eliminates both Bad News Brown and Macho Man at the same time. So he eliminates 5 people in the about 15 seconds.
By the time I've sneezed, I never understood why they kept doing that to the Warlord, because if I vaguely remember, like all the other Rumbles, he doesn't last long in them either. I don't know if Warlord didn't want to work or things like that, or just it was like, we need to make Hogan look good. Can you get close? I just never understood it. I didn't like it because I thought, a big guy, at least that's someone for Hogan to go back and forth with until we start telling stories. But it was like, off you go. And we, as we've spoken before, we love the powers of pain. And that was just pain. That's all that was. It was pain in my heart during that. But watching Hogan eliminate everyone as a youngster, I was on.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful when you put yourself back in that time. And it did serve a purpose. They wanted to clear the ring. At this point, Hogan was the only one left at this point. Macho Man comes back because the way it happened was Bad News Brown was trying to eliminate Macho. Hogan comes up from behind, boots them both out. Macho comes in. He's like, oh, what's going on, brother? You eliminated me. And they're like, oh, the Mega Powers, they're going to have some trouble now. And they take 2 or 3 minutes to basically be like, oh, it was an accident, brother. Don't worry about it. So then they're like, well, there might be some tension here, but we've worked it out for now.
Yeah, loved it. I thought that it was almost the whole year, and including that moment, the whole 12 months from Mania 4 to Mania 5 was almost perfect storytelling. There was just one little thing missing. But this moment here, I was shocked. And as a young fella, I was like, no, please don't. No, you guys are friends. Miss Elizabeth comes out and tries to settle them. And it's like, come on now. Hang in there. Just hang in there for me. And it went back and forth. And then suddenly shook hands. And I was like, okay.
The atomic handshake. It worked. It worked for the moment, but only for like 2 months. And then we're going to see some real business go down at WrestleMania. So Hogan's the only man left in the ring. He's standing there. He takes care of things with Macho. Boom. 22, Big Boss Man. So this was really nice, actually. I hold Big Boss Man in high regard for this time. He's a big guy. He was still able to move quite well. Him and Hogan have a nice, colorful back and forth. 23 comes in. The African Dream, Akeem, is on. So the Twin Towers are reunited against Hogan, and together, Boss Man and Akeem actually are able to eliminate Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, there was like, in this small tidbit, there was so much storytelling that I absolutely love. So you've got the tease of the Mega Powers exploding. Now, the Twin Towers, they were in the main event of the 88 Survivors. No, 80. They'll be in the main event of the... Yeah, because they're in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, so like
right.
The Twin Towers were main eventers. Then by them two eliminating Hogan, that sets up their Saturday night's main event when Macho knocks out Elizabeth, and then the Mega Powers actually explode. So it sets up that. I just thought it all just intertwined perfectly. And then when the next person comes in, it sets up another storyline, which I absolutely loved, because next was Brother Brutai.
Brutus,
Butcher, the Zodiac, the Who, the Booty Man. But he comes in, and because Hogan's doing stuff with the Twin Towers still, because when Hogan's eliminated, he can't just leave. But then that sets up the Hogan-Brutus friendship, which leads us in after the Mega Powers explode into SummerSlam 89, and they have a cage match on Super Tape and things like that with against Zeus and Macho. So I loved it because like Brutus could have just come in the ring, but he was sticking up for his mate Hulk, and it just told him, like, you had that Hogan moment of power eliminating everyone, and then shortly after, stories, it was like Oprah Winfrey. You get a storyline, and you get a storyline, and everyone. And I thought that small moment there, beautiful. Beautiful.
You know what irks me, and it even irked me when I was a kid, is when anything goes wrong for Hogan, he turns into a heel. Right? So he gets dumped outside, and he's like fighting with the referees to get back in the ring after he was legitimately eliminated. And he goes so far as he pulls the rope down to let the Boss Man go over. That's cheating, Hulk. That's not allowed. Stop being a heel.
I was with you. I was like, mate, why are you sooking? You got eliminated. Why am I saying my prayers and eating my vitamins if you just got to sook up? Because we may see that in future Royal Rumbles as well. It's like, come on, mate. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I was like, shattered. Hulk's gone. But I'm like, all right, go.
Just go. Just save face. So we come to entrant number 25 now. Undoubtedly, the MVP of this Royal Rumble, Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster. He almost made it to the Final Four. If you can believe that or not. So we've got a succession of, because the ring was fairly empty at this point still. So they loaded us up. Number 25, Red Rooster. 26, The Barbarian. 27, Big John Studd. 28, Hercules. 29, Rick Martel. And number 30, no eliminations happened this whole time. Number 30, $1 Million Man, who has purchased his position as number 30 in the Royal Rumble. And he comes with Virgil, and Virgil doesn't leave. Virgil sticks around.
Yeah, because the loophole in the system. Virgil is a bodyguard, not a manager. Managers
not a manager.
Stay in the ring, but bodyguards, everyone's favorite person at an autograph signing, Virgil. I loved that storyline. I loved it about him buying the number. And then I thought, that bugger, he's going to win it. I thought he was going to win it. And then it was just that last little bit with the last 6 that you just said was a bit, Yeah.
It was underwhelming, right?
Yeah.
You just there's not in my opinion, looking back on this, there was just not enough star power at the end of the show. There really wasn't. I understand they had to get all their spots in for the storylines and whatnot, but there really just wasn't enough. So we get all the guys in, everybody's in. Million Dollar Man eliminates Red Rooster. Million Dollar Man and the Barbarian eliminate both Brutus and Hercules. Martel eliminates the Barbarian, and Akeem eliminates Martel, and that brings us to the final three, which are Million Dollar Man, Big John Studd, and Akeem.
And the one thing I did love during that whole process of elimination is Big John Studd kept beating on Akeem, and if any time someone come over, he would knock off you go. I'm taking on this big guy because Big John Studd had a real bad thing for Andre the Giant because Big John Studd wanted to be the biggest guy. So I wonder if a little bit with Akeem was personal or if it was just going into his character.
Hard to say, but whenever I think of Akeem, I just think, why couldn't he be one man gang?
Yeah.
Why don't you just keep a one man gang? Like
a rib on Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so the final three, Big John Studd ends up eliminating Akeem, and then it's down to Big John Studd and Million Dollar Man. It almost seemed like, I don't know if something else was supposed to happen, but it was weird because Virgil was still there, and I was sure that Virgil was going to do something during the match. He doesn't do anything during the match. Big John Studd eliminates Million Dollar Man. He wins, and then Virgil comes in and just gets beat up for his troubles, basically. And Big John Studd wins, and that's the end of it.
And that's the end. They got someone who was injured. He was tired. He was old. And it's like, you can win. Obviously, we didn't know what the Royal Rumble would become. And then the fact of winning the Royal Rumble, you can be a special guest referee at WrestleMania. That's what we'll be
well, and that's the thing to remember. I think looking back, this is not the Royal Rumble like we know the Royal Rumble now. Because there is no reward. You don't get, at this point, you don't get a title shot at Mania because you won the Royal Rumble. That was not in effect at this point in time. So again, it goes back to that idea that there wasn't a whole lot riding on the Royal Rumble other than bragging rights, basically.
Yeah. But overall, I loved it. Highlights for me, Axe and Smash going at it. Thought that was unbelievable. That 2-3 minutes of complete storytelling. I love the Jake the Snake eliminating Andre Andre eliminates himself, and of course the Mega Powers, the Twin Towers, Brutus Beefcake. That little bit in there were probably, and DiBiase buying number 30 were probably my highlights of the Rumble.
Yeah, a lot of good parts, a lot of good individual parts. For me, I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5. It would have been much higher because I really did like the storytelling. But the ending was just flat for me. It was really flat. If Million Dollar Man would have, if Virgil would have distracted Big John Studd, Million Dollar Man eliminates Big John Studd, that would have put a little bit of an exclamation point on it. He did it. He bought his way to the to the Royal Rumble Championship, right? He bought it. He did it. He got it. Ha 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 ha. We get the laugh at the end. That would have sent me home happy. Turns out Big John Studd wins it. He can't speak a word, and that's the end of that.
And that was the end. I think I'm with you. 3 or 3.5 out of 5. I think the same. Along the same wavelengths as you. What did you guys think? What did you guys think of Royal Rumble 1989? We went on through it. Absolutely, I thought it was fun. Exciting, but the ending just doesn't sit too well in your.
Hey, stats! We got stats for the end of this match.
Oh yeah.
Top 3. Well, there was a few guys with 3 eliminations. Macho Man had 3 eliminations. Andre had 4 eliminations if you count Andre eliminating Andre. And then we have a jump to number 1, Hulk Hogan with 8 eliminations.
And 5 in 3 seconds.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, you just...
What a man. What a man.
The greatest, absolutely. He was awesome. That's just what the Hulk does, and I don't mind it. I didn't mind it then, and I don't mind it now. Guys,
bring it on.
Thank you for joining us on the Royal Rumble 1989. Please let us know what you think of Royal Rumble 1989 and let us know if the madness and myself have lost the plot or you agree with everything we say. If you can give, obviously, this a thumbs up. Tell all your friends about the international YouTube tag team champions of the world, and we can't wait to see you next time.